Scott Parker here at PRI 2024. I'm here with David Page at the Edelbrock Group. We're taking a look at some of their new products here, starting with this Supercharger. Okay, David, you want to walk me through what we got here?
Sure. So what we have is our newest series. This is the first in a series of Victor Supercharger. So Victor has always been known for the race level parts that Edelbrock produces. Our cylinder heads, our intake manifolds, everything that's race specific and made for the highest levels of performance carries the name Victor. So this is our first in our Victor series supercharger. This is the Victor LSXR. It's an LS3 based supercharger. It's the first in a series, as I said. This supercharger was set out with a specification to make 1,300 horsepower. It recently made 1,307, 1,055 foot-pounds of torque at 22 pounds of boost on our Dyno Mule 427 LS engine. It's got a couple of really nice features. It has a dual-pass intercooler system, so there's actually 3 intercooler bricks, 1 center brick, 1 on each bank of cylinders. We saw intake air temperatures go from 370 to 95 degrees between the exit of the rotors and the entry of the intake runners.
And I'm guessing by the shape of this top here, the intercoolers are on the top.
Well, there's one on the top, but related to the shape, it's very specific. Inside of the front of this lid is an electronic bypass valve. Mm-hmm. One of the really nice features is there's an app-based control for boost. So you can set a maximum boost level. You can set a time-based boost ramp curve for traction control purposes. You can also monitor your intake air temperatures, your boost, RPM, throttle position on a live app. So there's a live connection between the driver and the supercharger. And that's made possible by this electronic control valve that's mounted in the lid of the supercharger. This wire harness will connect to a module, which will have a Bluetooth signal to connect to the app on your mobile device. So we're really excited about that. And it was very interesting on the dyno. The difference between the bypass fully open and fully closed was about 620 horsepower.
Wow.
So the motor made 667 NA. With the supercharger and the valve fully open, it made 680. And with the valve closed, it made 1,307. So there's a tremendous amount of modulation of power. You can just imagine driving your car and you launch it and it's got 680 horsepower, and you turn the knob and it has double.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like with the centrifugal setups where guys were setting up with a wastegate.
Very similar, because that's what, so there's always a bypass on a supercharger. It serves multiple purposes, but traditionally it's just to relieve stress on the engine and the blower while you're cruising. Mm-hmm. Normally when you're cruising, the bypass is open. When you open the throttle, the vacuum drops, and that causes the bypass to close and make maximum boost. Now we can electronically do that same thing, but also manipulate max boost.
Wow.
So when you're cruising around, there's it's less stress on the engine. You're not making as much boost. Your fuel mileage, if that's something that matters, is better when it's bypassing. But primarily, it's about wear and tear on the engine. But when you open the throttle, you want the bypass to shut, and you want all the boost and all the power, unless you're traction limited for some reason. Or maybe you want someone else to drive the car and you don't want them to have the full horsepower on the tap. Mm-hmm. There'll be a valet mode where you can set a maximum boost level or zero boost if needed. So another really nice feature is there's provisions for dual injectors. There's a high and a low fuel injector position, so you can run up to a maximum of 16 injectors. The other positions.
Oh yeah.
Down there.
So there's a whole nother set of fuel rails underneath of the supercharger, underneath the intake manifold. That's very cool.
And here's the app that would control the boost, and it'll record your boost, air temperature, engine RPM, so you can go back and analyze after a run or whatever, how much boost did you get, how high did the air temperatures get on that run, and make changes and adjust accordingly.
Gotcha. And is this app is this just a standard like tablet that you have
It
here?
is.
or-
This is the Android version. There'll
Yeah.
also be an iOS version of the app. We put it on a tablet, so it's a little easier to see here at the show.
Okay, so that's not proprietary. You just use your app
That's
on
right.
any tablet.
Your own iOS or Android device, you'll download our app from the App Store. You can Bluetooth it to the module, and you can be connected to your supercharger.
That's awesome. Now, does this blower have the other, standard features that we've come to love about the Edelbrock superchargers as well? Like I imagine this is a TVS 2650.
It's a TVS rotor pack. We're not ready to release the size yet.
Okay.
We're doing some final testing actually next week that'll determine the final size of the rotor group. It is an Eaton TVS.
Okay.
It will be an Eaton TVS rotor set. It's just proven reliability that we've always had with that Eaton TVS package in our supercharger line.
Gotcha. Did you have to modify the runner length on the intake manifold at all versus your other kits?
No, but what we were very conscious of is trying to get maximum hood clearance. So we set a goal of a Gen 1 Camaro, Gen 1 Camaro platform. We wanted to be able to fit under a 2-inch steel cowl hood, which is probably the most common hood that you'll see on first-gen Camaros.
Yeah.
And this supercharger cleared with over an inch of clearance in the tightest place.
Oh, wow.
It looks really tall, but it's really about the same height as, like, say, a Super Victor intake manifold and a traditional carburetor.
Yeah.
And a 3-inch air cleaner with a drop base lid. And it so happened that the tallest part fit right into the recess in the hood where the air cleaner would normally go. It also features a 120 millimeter inlet, so
Oh, wow.
it'll accept 120 or 112 millimeter throttle body. It also includes an adapter to receive the traditional 102 millimeter throttle bodies that you normally see on LS engines.
Gotcha. Very cool. So is that something that you expect fast to come out with throttle bodies to fit this? I know you have at least one.
I would say it's very likely.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Thanks very much, David. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Scott.
Now I'm here with Jamie Wagner of the Edelbrock Group, who is their
product manager for cylinder heads,
perfect.
crate engines, and power packs.
Excellent. He's going to walk me through all the new cylinder heads for this year.
So this is for the Gen 3. This isn't new for this year. We actually released this last year, but we just brought it again this year with a lot of interest in it. We've been struggling a little bit with getting it on the shelf, but hopefully we'll have them up and ready very soon. We have two different versions. This is the Victor CNC version. And so this is a fully CNC. We'll be selling as a bare head, no valves, springs, or valve train. But it'll be just like you see here, fully CNC. Have the copper beryllium seats in it. Really nice port job set up on it. This particular one has the 3D printed core tools or pattern tools, and that's where you'll see some of these kind of odd lines into it. Well, that's how the 3D printer prints these cores, and then the sandcast will pick those lines up. For the production parts, the interior here will still have this 3D printed core in it, but all the chambers and the bottom section here will have a normal pattern for it. These are all CNC, so you really don't see it. It'll show up more on this Performer RPM version that I'll show you. This particular one, we had the 6-bolt tabs on it. The manufacturer that was going to do the block has decided that they're not going to do that, so the production parts won't have these tabs on it.
Okay.
So this version is the Performer RPM. It'll be a part number 61135, and it'll be the ASCAS chambers and ports, as you see here. The chambers, like I mentioned before, on the 3D printed tools, this will end up being much smoother with the iron tools more so than the 3D printed tools. So this will look a little bit different, but it'll be very similar in volume and shape. Same thing on the 6-bolt hold down. Those will be deleted for the production parts. ASCAS ports on the exhaust. some things that we've done that are different than the standard in our current Gen 3 HEMI is we've raised the port roof on the intake by about 125 thousandths. That gives you a much better line of sight on the port, and the flow is very, very good on this. That raises the spring pocket up 1/8 of an inch also, so it has a longer valve than stock, but all stock valve train will still bolt up to it and use everything stock.
And the same on the intake, right? Everything still bolts up?
Yeah, everything, the intake manifolds, we bolted up stock manifolds and stock exhaust. Now, we did have, you see this is a pattern that we have for a header that we were going to use for this. And it has the gap. Oh, no, it's the right way here. Maybe I should see how it works up here. So it would go on like this for a header, but now since we're deleting this, you don't need this, but we'll probably still have this offer for somebody who needs something unique for it. So that's pretty much what we have on the Gen 3 HEMIs. Again, these were released last year, but we haven't got them on the shelf yet, but hopefully early 2025 they'll be there and ready to go.
Gotcha.
Another new product that we have for this year is an LS3, an LS with Inconel valves. And this will be our standard, what was the RHS castings, and now it's just been to Edelbrock for the E Street brand.
Gotcha.
And fully assembled, they come sold in pairs. We have them for LS1s, LS3s. We have some for LS7s here pretty soon as well.
And does that come in CNC as well? I see these are
as cast.
Those are as cast.
Yeah, we will have an LS7 version that's fully CNC'd. We'll have like 7 part numbers with different valve sizes, port volumes, and configurations. We do have a new LS3 fully CNC'd that will be, it's a 77670, and they'll be available in early 2025. Actually, there's some on the shelf right now, so those can be ordered now.
Was there a lot of demand for the Inconel valves?
For the marine applications.
So
where we started that was if you have a wet exhaust system on marine application, you stall the boat, a lot of times you'll get a backwash of water into the exhaust system. And regular stainless steel valves that will warp them really bad.
Yeah.
To cause problems. That's why we use the Inconels. They're also very popular in the boosted applications.
Yeah.
And nitrous. So that's why we decided to go ahead and just do a line of them with the Inconel. So you can get them with standard stainless or Inconel. And that's the standard stainless is a 77620, and the Inconel is the 77621.
Gotcha.
And we have some more down this way if you want to take a walk.
So I'm guessing that's 45.
Yeah. This is a new product that we haven't really done any media on or any release. This is the first time it's shown up anywhere. And it's a fully CNC version for the Jeep 4-liter.
Oh, cool.
So it'll be a full CNC. It'll have LS valves. It'll be a 2-inch intake valve, and I think it's a 1.58 inch exhaust. It'll be the 8mm stems with the bead lock, so we have a lot more options for spring packages for that. So you can see it's fully CNC'd intake and exhaust. It'll be a really nice piece.
Very cool.
This will be a 50149 partner.
Yeah, what you do is you run basically you run the orders on. Keep it lined up. Yeah.
We'll come back on this one, and we'll let Mark maybe give you a little information because
Okay.
he's the expert on this.
Okay.
But if you want, we can go right down here.
Thanks. Pleasure talking with you. Yeah, have a good show.
Stand by you here just a minute.
Thank you again. Sorry. We're doing photos.
That's right. So this is also an existing part that we released last year. This is a Big Victor 12-degree head for Big Block Chevrolet. It has the spread port configuration on the intakes. Very popular. Pat Musey is the one who helped us develop this head, and he uses it on some of his 632 engines that he does for the drag cars.
Yeah.
Fully CNC'd, really nice head. Has the bronze guides and the copper beryllium seats.
How much do these heads flow?
I can give you a sheet on them. I don't have that on me right now, but I have it in my phone, but I don't have them in my memory.
These are massive ports.
Yeah, they are big.
You can see what you mean by it's sized for a for a bigger cube engine.
Something that needs a lot of airflow.
Yeah. Very cool.
Come in waves yesterday.
It did.
This one is a head that we actually introduced many years ago, but it's kind of got put to the side, and we just finally finished up the development on it. This is the DR17, so it's a 17-degree valve angle. Big block Chevrolet. Conventional port layout. The ports have been raised on both intake and exhaust, but they're in the standard locations as far as
It's a good spot, though. If it's not going to be raced, then it needs to be a museum. Not in somebody's backyard covered up with a car cover.
This particular head will have two different part numbers. One will be a standard like 93cc chamber,
Yeah.
and then we have one that's a 120cc chamber, and that was something we're going to put. Pat Musey's going to do a 632 crate engine that will have a true flat top piston in. That's why we made the bigger chamber so we could do a pump gas motor, a flat top piston on that. So we just made one cylinder head with two different chamber designs in it, so it'd just be one head instead of two.
Okay, and you actually have the different chambers on this side. So you got this one.
Yeah, you can see this is kind of a soft chamber, 120cc,
Yeah.
and this is more of a standard heart-shaped chamber on the 93cc.
Yeah. Cool.
We were really glad that
This cylinder head is, again, is a single cylinder head with two different configurations in it. This is a 61409, 61409 teams. It has two different two different intake sizes. One's 135cc and one's 195cc. Again, it's just one head to show two different volume sizes. Again, fully CNC. All these CNC heads are done at our race center in Mooresville, North Carolina. Pat usually oversees all of it, makes sure that everything is up to speed and good quality on it.
It's been a number of years.
So it can be. This can be bought in a 64130, which is the 195cc intake, and then the 66420, which is the 135cc chamber.
Okay.
Or sorry, the intake part. And then if Mark is available, I'll get him to.
So
we have a
that
small
was
block
gonna be my
Oldsmobile
next
head.
question.
From RPM that's new.
And this is Mark Remmel, who's going to tell us all about this brand new Oldsmobile head. Mark, what's up with this thing?
This is specifically for the small block Oldsmobile, that being 350s, 403s, being the fact that it's a smaller combustion chamber. Does have what's regarded as the large valve sizes for Oldsmobile, 168 exhaust, 207 on the intake. This cylinder head on a mile 350 will make well over 400 horsepower in street trim.
Wow.
Not a lot of compression, 9 1/4 to 1. So a lot of advantages to it. It also has, if you wanted to get a little more wild with it, it has more meat here in the roof of the intake port if you wanted to raise the intake port. For any other type of intake manifold or a custom manifold or anything of that nature. It also has the scallop here in the front. So in previous models, you could not put this head on a small block or any aluminum head on a small block and be able to run a mechanical fuel pump. You can now. With this scallop here in the front, you can replace the pump, you can install it however you need to do it, so nobody has to change their fuel system after putting this on. The two manifolds that work best on this are the RPM 7111 or the 2812 Victor for something a little bit, a little higher end up.
Yeah.
And that, but it's been a great piece. Been 4 years in development, like he alluded to, but it's going to be well worth it. It's going to be a game changer for the Oldsmobile guys for sure.
What were the biggest challenges with developing this head?
I would say just making sure runner size wasn't too big for the smaller displacement. Chamber size was the biggest issue as far as compatibility for streetable compression ratios, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then this here was huge. This not having this scallop here really deterred a lot of people from doing this conversion.
Yeah.
You know, any aluminum head conversion, and that for any small block hose pump. So it was just a bad interference problem. Guys didn't want to have to change their fuel system as well.
Yeah.
You know, and changing a top end kit, doing a top end kit. So those three things I would think would be the biggest. Were the biggest obstacles.
Understood. And how many different versions is this head available?
This will have two versions. One for flat tap camshaft, which I believe will take lift up to 575.
Yeah.
And then the roller version will have a little bit heavier spring in it, double spring, and that would take, I believe, up to 600 lift.
Gotcha. And did you say this will be available in CNC version as well, or?
That's what we're talking about. We hope to have that. We hope to have that available in the near future. It'd be best with Jamie to get with that part of it. But
Sure.
That part I don't have anything to do with as far as that goes. But yeah, and if they do, again, the sky's the limit with this cylinder head. You're going to make really very, very respectable power in a quote-unquote small block. So this will be a game. It's a game changer for the Oldsmobile community for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.